it'll actually show up. It'll show up before this tells you we're actually probably on right now, believe it or not. So what's it going to do? So it worked this time, but sometimes it'll give you say that you're not on, but you actually are. Just shut this down, and it'll say you look over here. See, it already says Facebook and it says live streaming already. So that's all right. Then you go down here and you record to the cloud.
Screen is that little message there.
Yeah, it's fine. As long as it says you're on. Even if it says you're not, just shut it down and look. You're probably on. Okay. Oh my God, it's Wednesday. Whiskey Wednesday. Now listen, I know it's pouring outside. It took a lot to get Isla weather here in Westboro. Jake worked long and hard, and he had to go through quite a bit of stuff to get that done. But I'm happy to say that we do have terrible weather now.
I only ordered it for right over Julio's. So
thank you. That was mighty nice of you.
but taste of Isla for everyone.
Jake Javitch. I'll get that wrong 20 times because that's why I just go Jake. Hey, Jake. Jake is with, of course, with Laphroaig. But what is your official title?
So I am a
move your mic up just a little bit there. There you go.
Better?
Yeah, perfect.
Suntory Global Spirits Portfolio Development Specialist with Horizon Beverage
and Chief Cook and Bottle Washer. That's usually that. That's about it. Well, we said, oh my God, the weather's going to be terrible tonight. Let's do Isla whiskey. Because what's better in the summer than smoky iodine whiskey, right? Nothing is better than that. So here we go. We got a great lineup tonight. There's some new information coming out from Laphroaig right now.
Yes.
Barry is retiring.
We lost Barry McCaffer. He's not retiring from the business.
Right.
He's left Laphroaig to start a new whiskey distillery in Korea. There's kind of limited details about that, but Barry has a huge history with Laphroaig. He actually grew up at the distillery with the famous Ian Hunter.
Yep.
Lots of pictures of him and Ian Hunter. If you had some of the story series, the 34-year-old, all those wonderful ones that came out in the past little while. So Barry, a lot of this stuff is a brainchild of Barry McCaffer. So we're going to be drinking some of his legacy, and we'll get into how that plays into some of the naming conventions and some of his ideas. But Barry left an amazing legacy at Laphroaig, did a lot. And so we're at this point still looking for a new distillery manager.
I get some people out here that may. Oh, you, sir? Okay. I get a couple volunteers. You'll work for free?
You'll work for whiskey.
Yeah,
you'll work for whiskey.
All right. Well, there you go.
So happy to talk about all things Laphroaig and even kick into a little of my personal favorite, the El Tesoro.
Yes.
I'm a big tequila guy. And we're
going to go all over the board tonight.
This is amazing. This is a perfect match.
All right. So let's get started with number one. You guys all should have a placemat there, and they should be numbered. So number one is Lore.
Yes.
Now, Lore has, like, when it first came out, I remember people were like, yeah, what's Lore? It's a non-age statement. You know, what are they doing at Laphroaig and blah, blah, blah. It has now become, I think, one of the most popular Laphroaigs out there.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
And rightfully so.
It's delicious. It's non-age stated because it's a pretty wide blend. Everything from 7-year-old to 21-year-old is in there. Did win best non-age stated whiskey in 2019 at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. So it has a ton going behind it. It has a blend of 5 different barrelings. They actually only release 4. It's bourbon, sherry, Oloroso, or PX sherry, Oloroso, and quarter cask. And then they kind of keep that fifth blended element to themselves. But it's a celebration of a lot of things that have come before it. It's really a celebration of the difference that Isla Scotch, Isla whiskey can express. So it has nods to some advanced blending techniques, but also quite traditional in the presentation. Everything's done right at the Laphroaig with the 4 wash and the 3 mash distillery copper pot distilled.
Okay.
So it's really like a fun driven element of the Laphroaig lineup, because it does showcase a lot of different things, as well as the highlight is, I think, the blending and how perfectly it's executed.
We always talk about like quarter cask 10 cask strength as sort of like the core lineup. But I think if you go down to like get down to brass tacks, I think Lore actually carries that Laphroaig DNA almost better than anybody else, because it's like the Laphroaig DNA with depth. It's got a deeper I don't know how to describe it. There's more going on there.
Yeah, it's got a range. It's got a
think
really
person's
nice range.
whiskey. It's
I
got
like
other
that.
things going on that you can sort of delve into. For me, it almost changes every time I drink it. So it's like what I'm going through at the time.
Okay.
And what time I'm drinking it. 8 o'clock in the morning is a little bit different than 8 o'clock at night for me. If you don't drink all day,
Breakfast scotch.
you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. So,
That's
but really, I do. Lore has definitely grown on me as far as a quintessential Laphroaig.
I definitely agree with that. And I think, just to piggyback on what you said, it shows off the depth, it shows off the range, and it shows off some of the super high quality blends that we can produce over there, because it does have five different blends in that one drink, and it really can express itself differently. If you have a bottle that's been open for a day, a week, a month, a year, you're going to be picking up different things, just because when like the quarter cask in there, smaller cask, ton of wood contact, bourbon barrel, sweeter flavor. So there's so much complexity that's happening, but it's not a standoffish whiskey. It's not like a snobby type whiskey, because you can drink it. It can be an everyday dram. It can be a celebratory dram. And it really does show off just so many different aspects that they throw together over there.
One of the things I think it does have that isn't talked about a lot, especially when you start talking about Islay whiskeys in general, it's a very well balanced whiskey. It doesn't go to so far an extreme that it's a one note.
Correct.
Like you say, it's like one note. It doesn't do that. It's really well balanced. And that's why I think I enjoy drinking it more than just occasionally.
For sure.
So
I think it keeps a toe very faithfully in the pond of Laphroaig and what Laphroaig does, and also is experimental enough to be interesting and open you up to new styles, but it never strays from home base.
What do you guys think? Like it? Yeah. No. I mean, we're doing six spirits tonight. I can't say 6 whiskeys. We're doing 5 whiskeys and so forth. But usually, I mean, to start off, your first one is Lore. Is usually like 4 deep into like a regular tasting.
Yeah,
that's where we're starting. I mean, when that's your starting point to a tasting, it's going to be a good tasting. All right, so
you're in for a treat.
You're in for a treat, yeah. And
it's a lineup. It's a
so
lineup.
let's go to the next one, because Cairdeas is one of those ones. It's a yearly release, and this is sort of I want to say like the one-off experimental line, or just a yearly expression that the revolving expression just changes. You never know what you're going to get with Cairdeas, what's going to come out next.
100%.
And this one happens to be Madeira. What was it? Madeira and White Port.
Yeah.
And I think White Port is very interesting. I just did a rye whiskey. That's a blend of 2 barrels, and one of them is a White Port and a Red Port. And when we were putting them together, it's White Port is very different. And you're just like, oh, it's port. Okay, yeah, but it's White Port, and it has a different flavor component than Red Port. It definitely does. So to have that in there, and by the way, I love Madeira. Madeira and whiskey go so well, and so many people don't put them together.
I think
it's sort of an untapped one, and I think the more people that try whiskeys that have been aged or finished in Madeira, the more prevalent it will become.
I think you're absolutely right. I think PX sherry has kind of, it is delicious, and it's a little bit more common. That Madeira sherry that's coming, I think a lot of restaurants, if you guys frequent some restaurants, there's a lot of Madeira sherry cocktails that are kind of on the rise. There's a little accent, and I think what it does to the White Port it plays with the sweetness, but it doesn't make it gimmicky. It's not like ham-handed. It's not over the top. It's a very nice, subtle aspect. And it does bring in a lot of Laphroaig drinkers. I go to a lot of restaurants, I go to a lot of bars, and I say, what do you think about Laphroaig? Can we interest you? Whatever. And they said, oh, it's too intense for a lot of our drinkers. And I bring Laphroaig Cairdeas, this edition specifically, because it has, again, all the characteristics of a great Laphroaig, smoky, kind of iodine-y. I say this very fondly. It reminds me of the smell when you open up a Band-Aid. And it takes you places. And whiskey and food and spirits, they should take you places. They should remind you of things. And for me, Laphroaig does that, and I love it. Back to the Cairdeas, though, it adds that wonderful iodine medicine cabinet smoke with some rounded sweetness. I think it
does bring a little, like, again, we were talking about this, brings a little bit more balance to it. It's not one-dimensional anymore.
For sure. And I think that for people that are interested in Islay scotches and peaty scotches and having that big, full flavored taste, this can take a little bit of the edge off and make it a really approachable. So in no way is this a beginner's scotch, but it's also really, really drinkable for people that are just getting into their journey or looking to kind of round out their profile a little bit.
This is at 104.6 proof. So again, we're getting into not I don't think this would be actually considered cask strength because you're mixing a bunch of stuff together. So this would be blended strength.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's whatever you put together. It's just natural strength, no water added to it.
Right.
You guys all have water at your table, at your seats. I would add a drop of water to this because you're going to see a whole bunch more flavors come out. It's really cool, especially with this one. And the one thing I'm going to say that sort of, I don't know if it ticks me off, but it's just, like, it's so good. It's like, I'm almost tempted. It's like, this should be almost I'm going to be sad to see this one go because I really feel that this should be almost in the lineup, like a regular lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I think a Madeira, or maybe it's White Port Madeira, or maybe it's Madeira. I think that flavor combination does very, very well with Laphroaig, and I'm almost sad that I know we're coming to the end of this Cairdeas.
Yeah.
And we've seen it before. So we've seen, like, even like PX, you'll see PX pop up more now because people are looking for it. We're going to try some tonight. But I think that Madeira could be the next one because I think it really, really shows Laphroaig really well.
I agree. The cask play here is quality. It's not overdone, and it never strays too far away from the core of what Laphroaig is.
Is this the first Cairdeas that actually uses two finishes? I can't. Do you guys think of another one? Is there one with port and wine was 2020? 2020. But there's not many of those. Like, there's not many two barrel finish or
it's
different
hard.
finishes.
I mean, it speaks to
well, they have to go. I mean, you just can't pick up flavors and go, hey, those two go together. I'll just throw those together and expect it to happen. They actually have to fit.
They have to fit, and they have to trial.
Right.
Yeah. This quick bit of trivia: Cairdeas is Scots Gaelic for hospitality, and the reason that I
thought it was Gaelic for car chase, but like it was like a police officer's whiskey or something like that. Now
I like that.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons that they do changes because hospitality evolves. So they want this to it's hospitality of friendship is Cairdeas, the meaning. Learn that from Mr. Simon Brooking, who I hear has sat in this seat. So
he's been here once or twice. Actually, the boot, the welly that you have up on the dais is, I believe, signed by him.
Let's see. Yep.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, right there.
It's signed by him. Yeah.
Simon's a legend. I don't have as many toasts as Simon, but I'll do my best.
That's okay as long as you don't sing like Simon. We'll be set. He's gonna kill me because I said that, but that's okay. Let him come here and kill me.
That's right. Bring him.
Bring him. He's got to show up to do that.
Bring him back.
I love Simon. Simon's one of my favorite people.
He's awesome. It was my third day with the company, and I was traveling around with Simon, and I was like, "Oh, is every day like this?" And this is a great job.
It's not. You learned that quick. Those are the fun days. Like, it's like when your favorite uncle shows up.
Yeah,
we're doing something fun today. Simon's here. Simon says, "Come with me," and you go. All right. Well, this is good. I like this. What do you guys think of the Cairdeas? Yes, good. Who? I just out of curiosity, would you want this to be part of the lineup? Raise your hand.
Yeah, you got a good bunch of hands.
No, that's it. Then it's not going to be part of the lineup. Thank you, everybody. You ruined it. You ruined it. You ruined it. You ruined it. I could have got them convinced that it was going to be part of the, but no, not you. You got to be difficult.
We'll start
All
a
right.
write-in campaign. See how many.
Yeah, I
we
know.
can
Well,
get.
obviously not this
Get,
crowd.
20.
I love it. I love it, Ryan. You want to make it part of the? No.
If there's any cocktail lovers out there, what I do with Cairdeas is I make a penicillin, which is a blended Scotch, lemon juice, simple syrup, and you top it with an Isla Scotch, lemon juice, honey, and ginger syrup, and then you top it with an Isla Scotch. And I use that because the ginger and the white port play really well together,
Okay.
and it gives you that smoky kick, but it gives you a ton of depth.
Nice.
So yeah, give that one a rip.
Didn't make for us tonight, did he? Though. All right.
Had them all in the parking
I
lot.
would have to mark Jake down. Jake does not share well
cocktails.
with others. Okay, got it. Got it. I'll have to fix that. This is why we like Simon. Just kidding. All right. So, all right. The next one that we're going to have tonight is the Elements.
Yes.
Right. I have not had this one yet.
I've had it a couple times. Really, really nice. Actually had it with Simon right when it hit the market. So this is Elements 1.0. Elements 2.0 was just released at the Isla Malt Festival about a month ago. It is a very cool experimental series. There's a lot of Easter eggs for some Laphroaig lovers. The kind of architecture on the bottle is a reference to the early 1900s distillery expansion. So actually some of the original plans from that distillery expansion are on there. This is our first all Isla malt as well.
Oh, really?
Yes. So everything except the wood came from Isla. Sometimes there are some places that import some of their grain, but a lot of it comes from Isla. This is 100% all Isla malt, so very, very special. Some older techniques, some newer techniques. Again, usually we use a 5.5 ton still to create Laphroaig, but they used a pre-1990s 8.5 ton still for this, so they're kind of again blending some of that old with the new, and they're going to continue to develop more of the Elements series. So 2.0 is coming out.
Now, what's going to be the difference between the 1 and the 2?
I believe it's going to
technique.
It's going to be a little bit of technique. This is a 55-hour fermentation, which is quite long for a big distillery. I think only Anok does it longer. Actually, Anok's delicious but very weird. They do things their own way. But 55 hours is a ton.
Bruce he likes that stuff.
I love Anok. You're never gonna find me. I used to drown in that stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But this is a unique expression for a distillery the size of Laphroaig. So for them to do it this way was really, really cool. And this was personally supervised by Barry. All 55 hours or as much of it as possible, he personally oversaw. So this for Barry McCaffrey lovers, this is his lasting legacy.
Quintessential Barry McCaffrey.
Absolutely.
And this, just so you guys know, this is 117.2. Yeah. 117.2 ABV. So
yeah, get yourself a nose in there. It's delicious.
That's okay. No problems with that. All right. This is another one, though. Add some water to this one.
Gets a little more tropical when you add some water to it. Really, really nice.
I don't have my, I think I have my, I'm going to do the Randall Bird method. I thought he was going to come tonight, but I got a Randall Bird story later on. We'll tell. Since he's not, he didn't show up. Now I get to tell stories. It's raining out. His car probably wouldn't start. Just so you know, like Randall Bird method is drink some water and then drink the whiskey, so you don't actually dilute the whiskey, but I
like that.
You sort of do it in your mouth, I guess. But it does work.
I haven't heard that.
It's a good way of doing it without, like you said, if you want to keep your sample at cask strength and not screw around with it, it's another way of sort of getting some of those other flavors. And if you notice, all of a sudden you get there's like a pineapple in there, which is weird. I think coming from an Isla Scotch that's so peaty as this, you get tropical fruit. Everybody goes, "Oh, tropical fruit." It's pineapple.
I get pineapple, 100%.
Pineapple. And I'm not saying that so you'll taste pineapple. Yes.
Sorry.
You wrote down pineapple before I said it. You're psychic. Lisa, why are you in the way in the back tonight? Lisa's usually right down front. She came late. There we go. All right, so this is my first time trying this. This is I like it. I'm okay with this. This is good. I'm willing now. Now I'm curious because now I want the two. I want the Elements 2.0 because I want it now. I have it only works if I can compare them.
It's true.
Right. Yep.
Well,
you got
right
it.
back.
Thank you. Thank you, Jameson. We'll just have to have another tasting. Damn it.
I hate my drink.
And more whiskey.
The 2.0, like I said, just came out for the Isla Malt Festival. So I've heard in this room that it's someone saw it in New Jersey. We don't have it in Massachusetts yet. But
we're usually the last to get things.
We are like percentage wise, you'd be surprised. Massachusetts crushes it.
Yeah.
For our small state. We do very well. And but thanks to wonderful folks like yourself who support the brand and great stores that carry our brands. But Massachusetts versus California, Texas, Illinois, we're New York, we're a little bit smaller. So we get stuff. When we get it, we crush it.
I think that's a challenge. Guys better drink. Challenge accepted. You better drink more.
Heavy pours.
Heavy pours. Let's go. All right. But that's really good. I like that one a lot.
And there was a question about the casks on this. The
barrel program on this
profile,
one.
Not completely disclosed. It's Spanish sherry butt and ex bourbon. And there's one other that they say that is not fully disclosed. Laphroaig guards its secrets very well.
Let me ask you a question now. Okay, so Barry's going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done one and he's done 2.0, 1.0 and 2.0.
Yeah.
Does he already have what he was looking for 3? Or does it end with him?
That's a great question. I think that's above my pay grade.
All right.
But I would guess that it's because he wanted to leave a legacy. I'm guessing it's a program.
Okay.
And there may be some extra finishing here and there.
Okay.
But I know that the Isla malt is staying, the all Isla water, that's all staying. So everything is as organic and fresh and close and local and all that. And that was what he really wanted to focus on. As far as the casks, I'm going to have to do a little bit more research, and I'll have to ask some of the statewide national people what they know.
You're going to have to go there, I think, and look at the casks and then take pictures and write them.
Bring
down.
one back.
Yeah, well, that'd be great. You can do that too. That'd be awesome. What's that? When are we going? Yes.
Let's do it.
Soon. I think we should go soon.
I don't know.
What do you guys think of the elements? Good. I mean, we're three deep, all cast strength, all above 90 proof. But I always get this. It's like I always get this from people that really are not very, very familiar with Isla because they don't like peat or whatever. Mm-hmm. They all taste the same. And I don't know. I think what we've tasted so far is pretty diverse. And I don't think you get as much diversity in some of, like, let's say even some of the Highland whiskeys that have different expressions.
I would definitely agree with that.
I think you get a wider array of flavors in some of these.
I agree. And I think that the people that, and I hear that a lot as well, like, I'm not into Isla. I don't like the smoky stuff. I don't, and that's, I think it's similar to a discussion. The point I was going to bring up about tequilas. I think a bunch of us drinkers had bad experiences with certain products 10 years ago, 20 years ago, college, for a lot of us with tequila, and they just left it there, and they're not curious and they don't explore. If you come into the Laphroaig 10, that's like a great gateway into smoky Scotch. If you enjoy that, then you're going to explore maybe the select or maybe the quarter cask at the beginning. And then you work your way up to some of these like more little complex expressions, and you start to be able to pick out different flavors and understand different things. I find a huge range in what we've tasted so far, and I'm excited to get into some of your single casks I've never had before. So I'm
well, I just think it's one of those type of things that, like, and by the way, people, there's some people that aren't here tonight because they don't like peat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you drink especially single malts long enough, it's sort of like your taste buds evolve. Like I say it to like wine people. Like a lot of people started with wine at like White Zinfandel, and now they drink like cabs.
Right.
it's one of those type of things where you sort of eventually end up.
Yeah.
All right. Your flavor, your profile, your taste profile changes over time. You start looking for different flavor expressions. You start, you evolve. You want to try different things, and I think eventually, yeah, you might not go for like a fully peated Isla whiskey, but I almost guarantee you have something else that it has some strong flavors that may use maybe Highland peat or other flavors, because I think it is something that you sort of like. Usually, a lot of people evolve into. There's very few people that just sort of like, damn, I couldn't wait to start on that. Even Randall, who's not here tonight, Randall started with somebody told him to get a Lagavulin. That was now Randall's a master of whiskey. I mean, he's been doing this a long time. His first foray was a peated whiskey, and he had to struggle to finish his first bottle. And he says, I would never have started there.
Yeah. That's certainly a tough starting off point. I had a weird kind of like intro into Scotch in general, and my experience might be a little different than other people. So I grew up in the woods, summer camping from when I was like 7 years old.
Abandoned in the woods,
my
small child.
My mom
from his parents.
Mom dropped me off at Camp Walt Whitman for 7 weeks when I was 7 years old, and she was like, "This is it. I'm leaving." So I was very, now as a parent, I understand how amazing that is. It's just to leave your kids. But so like campfires have a very special meaning to me. So when I was in college as a senior in my fraternity, we had a very affluent local lawyer who would come in, and only for the seniors in the spring. And he'd sit us down. He said, "This is what you're going to drink now. This is what you're going to drink when you graduate. This is what you're going to drink when you're 30. And here's some shit that you can't afford, that you'll never afford." He was very, very well off. And as we were going through, every time for me, it was the peaty stuff, because it reminded me of summer camp. It reminded me of being around a campfire. And that's kind of what I was saying before, is like whiskey, food, songs, like they should all remind you of some experience that you had in the past. And for me, it was like peaty Scotch, I'm in. And I was always an Isla guy. So again, my experience is a little bit different, but I think also people who start out enjoying spirits, and it's so easy to enjoy spirits nowadays. There's so much information online. There's great product everywhere. There's peated bourbons coming out, or bourbon finishes. There's Japanese peated. Like there's so much fun stuff. I think you can graduate into peat either like, head first dive like I did, or you can really get up there in the way that you were saying. There's so many approachable ways to do it. Cocktails,
Well, I have people that say they don't like whiskey. I have people that, and I go, "Oh, you've tried them all," and they're like, "No." I go, because there's I don't think of I really can't think of another product, spirits product, other than throwing like flavored vodka. We can go like crazy. The Doritos one and all this other things. All these other things. But just on like sort of the base product of what you could do and what is considered whiskey.
Yeah.
That has such a diverse flavor profile. Huge. It's all over the place. So to say like, "Oh, I don't like whiskey," is a really hard thing to say, because you really need to go try stuff. I mean, my personal thing is like, my wife always loved, when I sit down to have a whiskey, she always loved the smell, but when she tasted it, she didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then eventually she found one. She goes, "Oh my God, I really like that one." It was $400 a bottle, but that we won't get into that. But since she did find that one, now she tries other whiskeys, and she's actually tried. She actually likes other things now. That just sort of opened her. Once she found one she liked, it sort of opened her mind up.
Yeah.
To other whiskeys that said, "Oh, maybe I don't just like the smell."
Right. This one,
right. So I think that's an interesting
funny
thing.
you said. My wife is very similar. She's like, "I don't like this, but I can see why you would."
Right.
Like it tastes like, other things that you like. I love cigars. If anything is like a, tobacco or a cigar rye blend. She's like, "I get why you like that," versus like 8 years ago, she'd be like, "This is don't let me near this."
Why are you even like, I mean, what's wrong with you?
It was a lot of
like,
"Honey, this is my job."
This is I have to, you must have to do this.
I tell her I only drink when I'm at work.
There you go. Yeah. It's a perfect time to drink. I'm always working though.
That's true. On the clock.
I'm always on the clock. All right. So the next two whiskeys. So there's a little bit of a backstory to this. The next two whiskeys are single cask whiskeys from Laphroaig, and this actually started the program that is now pretty much in full swing. Going to Laphroaig and actually picking a barrel. We get to sort of be the pioneers or the guinea pigs or the experimental rats on this one. We had actually, under John Campbell, we actually picked a barrel to show how it could be done. Our point was to show how it could be done. All right. So it was a little bit like playing telephone. I said what I was looking for and sort of where I was going. I should have just called John Campbell directly and done this. And because when I arrived in Islay, he goes like, Laphroaig, he goes like, I didn't know really what you wanted. So here's a bunch of whiskey. Go knock yourself out. So in a way, it was great because he just picked like, here are my favorite casks. And we went through and picked those. And we did one that was called, we ended up calling it PX I Love You. It was a PX cask, and it was basically a bunch of barrels that were put together and dumped into a PX barrel because they're smaller, the bigger barrels. So they were put in there. Well, it ended up staying in the finishing barrel for 9 years. It had already started out with like, almost 5 years on its own. Push comes to shove, it's basically been in wood for 14 years.
Awesome.
So we call it a vintage, and we put it out. Exceedingly popular, but more importantly, what it did is it got the people at Beam-Suntory to start looking at how do we do this on a regular basis. So when they decided to do it on a regular basis, was very fortunate. Simon was spearheading this sort of new project, and he brought several of us in that we got to sort of go through the thing. We were supposed to iron out the kinks. Okay. Instead, we started trying to put the thing on its head. And the worst part is, Bill Thomas from Jack Rose and myself are there. And of course, when Jack and I get together, we're always looking at an angle. Like, how do we, Randall's right there with us. We're sort of like, okay, well, how are we going to put this together? They presented the program. We sort of asked them to like, look, can you tweak it a little bit? We may want to do this. We may want to do that. And to which point they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to let you go in. You can only try 3, but you can sniff all the barrels.
Interesting.
So there's film of us sniffing a bunch of barrels. So all of us has got our noses like going in sticking our nose in bung holes, looking for what we were gonna pick. So it was really weird. But that was a really good way to break it down. The only problem is it was a little bit cold. Of course, we're in the Rick house. It's it was in November, a little bit cold.
50
yeah.
like that.
So we Randall and I sort of fell on the thing that we really liked the PX, the way it played together. So we were sort of looking at those. We went through everything. We thought there was some other interesting ones that we may have gone to, but we did end up going with another PX because we really wanted to do a follow-up. And then the guys from Jack Rose, of course, Bill Thomas is going through, and he goes, he's like, I literally like the Vino Breaks. I'm like, yeah, you really should like the Vino Breaks. So he went that route, which is great. I thought that was a perfect way to go.
Very cool.
So when we were all said and done, they picked a Vino Barrique and we picked a PX cast. So we just sort of said, so I want half of his and he wants half of mine. So that basically all these first, there was going to be only like 8 barrels for the first year going around. Well, Jack Rose and Julio's Liquors were going to have 2 of the 8.
2 of the 8.
So,
awesome.
So the next one you're going to try is the Jack Rose Vino Barrique. So I forget what the ABV and stuff on you. Maybe you're a little closer than I am. What it was. So we have a little bit of this left. We don't have a lot of this one left. Oh, thank you, Johnny.
58.4 on the Jack Rose.
58.4. This is a medium toast virgin French oak. So Jack Rose Dining Saloon, 700 mils. Yeah, 116.8. So go ahead, try it, see what you think. You're talking about one of the premier bars in the country that's picking this one. If you ever get to DC, if you do not go to Jack Rose, you're doing yourself a disservice.
That is awesome. There's so much there.
There's a ton going on. Do not drink this all. I know I caught before you all did it. So no, not fooling me. Yeah, I got you before you did it. And there's no one that just downed that.
If
It's
you
so
did.
delicious. If you down that, that's terrible, sir. Terrible, sir. Wait until we get to
Put
the
it back.
tequila.
Yeah, and just so you guys know how special this stuff is, there's only one other store in Massachusetts that has done a single pick.
Yeah.
And so a single cast selection.
We call
So-
them the second.
The second. Little brother.
Well, we're the first. So, and not only that, but actually getting another barrel here picked by Bill Thomas, it was to us another,
Yeah.
another, feather in our cap.
For sure. I mean,
So
it's a great relationship that you guys have.
we've
with-
done a couple of other different projects. We have a couple different projects we've done with Jack Rose. So, all right, what do you guys think? Good.
It's for being something that you don't pick up on a ton of the proof.
No,
It's something
no, absolutely not.
that's a great, testament to the blend. You get it at the very, very end.
It's a single, you got to remember, a single cask is a very, very particular thing. There's nothing you can do to it. All right. Cask strength, single cask. It is what it is. There's nothing, you can't fix anything. You can't take away, you can't add. That's what it is. And it's when you find a really good one, you bottle it and enjoy it because there's not going to be another one.
Yeah.
All right. And this, like, you can't make it, you know what I mean? Blending is great because you can work with something and you can take these other elements and make them even better. But a single cast you can't do that with. It has to be what it is. It has to be really good.
It stands on its own.
Yeah.
That's what it's meant for. And it's for people that appreciate this kind of stuff, like you get a limited amount and that's it. And it's like you guys did the job of picking it. You identified what it is. It's got the bottle number.
281 bottles.
Yeah.
To this
super
one,
cool.
just so you know.
That's
it.
There's so many stories that go into this, and the story that you just told is really special. And that story, someone else in here is going to tell when they bring it home, like, hey, I learned about this whiskey. It tastes delicious. Check out this cool story. And then from there, it's your story. You take that to your friends, you take that to your family, and then
you become ambassadors to the brand. Yeah, and that's really what single barrels are all about. It's supposed to highlight everything else that Laphroaig has to offer. It's supposed to be something a little bit different. It's supposed to open up your eyes to what the possibilities of the rest of the lineup. A lot of people nowadays are going for the barrel as something completely different, and it's theirs. And it is. We picked it. It is ours. I mean, we'll take ownership of these. But it is supposed to bring a highlight or a spotlight to the brand.
Sure.
And so you go, wow, that was really good. What else does Laphroaig have to offer? What else is there?
How else can they do it?
All right. Yeah. So the next one you're going to try is, of course, our PX gas, which is PX I Love You Too. A little play on the words. This is a 2014 Pedro Jimenez. This is 120.8. This one happens to be bottle number 50. But this is out of 326. Of course, a PX barrel's a little bit bigger. So a little bit more whiskey. And now that Randall's not here, I will tell you the story while you're enjoying this. So try to see what you think. So in being the first people to go through this program, they want to, I don't want to call it a dog and pony show, but they have people that are going to come there that have never been to Isla before. So they want to give them the full Isla experience, the food, the sights, the sounds of Isla, which I think is fantastic. And I think they'd be doing a disservice if they didn't do that. But one of the things that we wanted to do was cut peat. All right. So you go out to the peat bog and you cut peat. Well, cutting peat in sort of the time of the year, you wouldn't necessarily cut peat. And it's a little wet. It's a little bit more wet than it usually would be. You get your wellies on and it's all good. So they take us out and it's a little wet, and we're all taking turns. First of all, you're all drinking. And that's an important thing to note. You all have a Glencairn glass full of Laphroaig, and you're out because it's cold out, and you all have your wellies on, and you're out in the peat bog, and you're going to learn how to cut peat. So we go out and do it. Now, we had to actually use some platforms because we were actually sinking as we were doing it. So we're cutting because it is a little too wet. All right. You can see water like coming as you're cutting, you can see water like flowing out. So I cut the peat and stuff like that. And it's Randall's turn. So Randall says, here, hold my glass. So I'm like this. I got 2 glasses, I got my glass, got his glass. And he starts cutting peat. Well, if you all know Randall's 6'7". He's a big guy. Okay. And all of a sudden I'm noticing that he's getting shorter. And he's sinking into the bog. And he's at the point where it's really, there's no return. We have to get him out. And he's looking at me and I go, because I'd have to put down where could I put down the whiskey? And he's like, you need to help me get out of here. I go, you're going to die. They'll come 1,000 years later and you're going to be in the bog and you'll be the new bog man. And it'll be really cool. You'll be famous. And he's like, Randall, shut the hell up. Get me out of here. So, somebody else took my whiskey. 2 people had to take my whiskey. We did get Randall out. He's still alive. He is not the new Pete man.
The Pete monster.
Pete monster bog man. But he's never really sort of forgiven me for letting him get that low. I go, we see eye to eye now, don't we, Mr. Bird? So here's to Randall.
Mr. Randall. Well, I'll do one.
Now, if you saved a little bit, here's one thing you can do, because this is what Jack Rose did. So you got a flight, and you would try the Jack Rose, you would try the PX I Love You, and the last one would be a blend of the 2. So it's about 2 to 1 or something like that. But I don't really care. You just if you have any left and you want to just mix one into the other, you can use whatever you have left into the other one. And to just try to sort of give you an idea of what Jack Rose was doing at their bar. It was a flight of 3. That's 1, perfect. 2, and then blend it together. So it's sort of give you the best of both worlds. You have these 2 great single malts and single casks, and then all of a sudden you have a blended malt together. So it's blend of single malts. So it's a blended malt.
Yeah.
Double single. Double. No, I don't think that's how that works. All right. So I put mine together.
That's like the folks at Suntory would call that the pure malt.
Pure malt. Yeah, now you have to go to Scotland to do that. What do you guys think? First of all, what did you think of just the PX I Love You Too? Good, right? We were pretty happy with that one. We were so praying. I hate to say this because we were so praying because once we had smelled the PX cast and we sort of already knew which one of it was going to be it. But when you start pouring it out and you're letting it warm up and you're doing this stuff, we have basically a 1 in 3 chance once we picked, right? So we're like, I want that cask and I want that cask and I want that cask. And that's what they're going to pour out. And you're sort of praying is like, listen, this has got to be really good. Mm-hmm. I had already hedged my bet. I said, if this isn't it, we got to try it 4th. I'm already working to try more whiskey. But because, we really wanted this was going to be the follow-up to PX I Love You. Mm-hmm. And we wanted it to be as good as we could get. I think we did a really good job. I think we ended up with a barrel. The barrel we thought it was going to be was it. And it was in spades. So I hope you guys like this one.
So good. So good.
What do you think of the mix together? Did anybody mix it together? Pretty good, right? I think it's definitely, it's the 2 flavors do go well together.
I got like and this might just be my weird, I got bacon. Yes. I smelled bacon immediately. Yes. I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
I did have that's usually you get when you start getting like sherry and smoke together. Yeah, makes perfect sense. And it's like it does go to we call it like bacon, stripy bacon, Canadian bacon. Mm-hmm. You start to get all the bacons. That's Randall's boots. Yeah, that's how we got it back in Randall's boot. Rubbery. What's that?
It's true.
That's right. You have to buy both bottles. So you can make that.
Everyone should buy both bottles.
There you go.
No, thank you for sharing. I mean, there's no Horizon Beverage doesn't have any sample bottles flying around, and talking with you and seeing these here, this is very special. So thank you for sharing.
You bought them. Thank you.
Yeah. Not me. But
it's good to drink on somebody else's dime, isn't it? Always. All right. So the last one you want to tell about this program?
Sure. So
This is inside of a cool program.
this is a very cool program. This is one of the benefits of being a part of a massive spirits company is you have a lot of resources. So this is the El Tesoro Mundial collection. Mundial means world. So it is the mixing of two worlds, two different styles of spirit. This is an El Tesoro aged in a Laphroaig cask. So two things that generally
This one's called Senor Laphroaig.
Senor Love.
What's that? Oh, thank you.
Right there.
Thank you. Senor Laphroaig. Because we had somebody that couldn't say Laphroaig and they kept saying Laphroaig. So, and if you've ever been to Mexico, you know, Senor Frogs.
Yeah.
So we sort of combined everything together. It's Senor Laphroaig.
Yeah. It's a super creative.
We used to have a
expression.
frog on this one. Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's dope. Very creative expression. Again, something that like just wouldn't happen unless these two wonderful companies were working together. El Tesoro happens to be one of my favorite tequilas, not just because I sell it, but also because I'm a big tequila fan. I love tequila because it's very simple. It's three things. It's agave, it's yeast, and water. I guess we'll put in time and technique in there. But the Camarena family has been distilling since the early 1900s. Carlos Camarena makes El Tesoro as well as Tequila Ocho, and his brother makes Valance and G4. So some of the most famous, most sought after tequilas at the moment. This is just a wonderful product from a wonderful family. La Alteña Distillery in Jalisco Highlands, high altitude agave, packed with flavor. It takes a long time, 7 to 15 years for those agaves to mature. So you're getting a real labor of love, and you're also getting just a wonderful brainchild of a couple awesome people. So this is a really special thing to have and to share. As you can tell, I gush a little over tequila, but it's something that, you know, again, doesn't happen very often. You don't see a lot of these in the wild. Single barrels in Massachusetts, incredibly rare. And this is, I couldn't be more excited to taste this. This is going to be my favorite.
I will tell you, John maybe know better than I did. I think we're down to like bottles. There aren't many left. We're down to bottles. I think there's something like 7 or 8 bottles left. You can, yeah, they bought it. You can do whatever you want with it. So if you smell this, you get the agave, you get that great agave smell.
Yeah.
You know, I always said like a good agave, you almost smell, it's so stupid, but you almost smell like salt and lime.
Yeah.
When you just smell it.
I'm there with you. Yeah.
You know, but this one, there's something else going on there. There's something else there.
Yeah.
And that's the Laphroaig barrel aging.
Backbone of the Laphroaig. And this is, you know, there's a big thing in tequila about additive free tequila.
Yep.
When you say I smell agave on this, it's like it sounds, you know, redundant, but on non-additive free tequila, some other brands, which I won't name, you smell chemicals or you smell your hangover.
Well, here's another one. First of all, this is 100% agave. You know, there's not, they're not fooling around.
No.
Here's the thing is, because tequila is getting very popular, and this is the way in transparency is becoming an issue with tequila, and everybody's jumping in. They want everybody to be transparent about it. I will tell you this: if your tequila tastes like birthday cake, it probably has something in it, because tequila does not taste like birthday cake.
Right.
You know, you are going to get some vanillins in there, especially if it's a reposado or older, because most of them are being aged in bourbon barrels, ex-bourbon barrels. You're going to get some of that. If they're using, cognac barrels, you're going to get some of that winey, that cognac sort of flavor to them. That's fine, and that should be there. But there's a down and dirty sort of test that I usually use. I do the like that. You get enough on your hand. Now you rub it together, and it should dry sort of like when you do like hand sanitizer or something like that. It's not sticky. It's not sticky. Guess what? There's nothing else in there.
There's no like glycerin.
Now I got to tell the officer that I was just rubbing tequila on my hands, but that's beside the point. But it'll dry, and your hands are all like real dry afterwards and you can smell the tequila, but there's no stickiness. That's sort of that's not a really scientific, like you're not analyzing it, but it's a really good way to sort of tell if the tequila you're drinking has other things in it.
For sure. Okay. For sure. This is one of the, Suntory Global Spirits, massive company. This is still very, very small batch. They use a hand push stone tahona. So, and you can see on the label, there it is. A couple jump. Yep. And that's the ode, the way to pay respects to the tradition. So
you could really hurt somebody with this, but we've tried
to do a little content. But you get a lot of the wonderful Laphroaig notes that we've been talking about all night. You do get some smokiness. You get a little bit of a tingle like mid palate, and that comes from, again, that iodine medicine cabinet kind of action, but just the wonderful expression of the tequila.
If you haven't had this, the best thing to say to somebody is like, it's got the smokiness of mezcal, but the smoke is different.
That's perfect. Yep. No,
Okay, so if you sort of like mezcals that have a smokiness to them, you may like try these. It isn't the same smoke though. It's not that same smoke.
Yeah, it's not like
There's a different-
barbecue.
It's not, yeah.
Smoke. It's a little bit subtle, but it's super present. That's a great way to say
But
it.
you can't sort of surprise somebody because if they're not ready for that smokiness, it's different.
You're gonna be, yeah.
It's different. I love it. I think it's great. Like I said, we're down to the nitty and the gritty on what's left of this. So
get it tonight.
Yeah. So not much left on this. So
amazing.
Well, that's our tasting for tonight. What do you guys think? Yeah. Well, did you like the tequila? Did you like the tequila? Yes, no, maybe, indifferent. Different way to check. Different way to end a whiskey tasting with tequila that's been aged in a whiskey barrel. An ILO whiskey barrel, nonetheless. I want to thank Jake for coming tonight. Thanks you so
for having
much.
me. This was awesome. Thank you, guys.
We're going to end the Facebook portion of the show, or the live portion of the show. You can always get this as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts, such as Spotify or wherever. Just look for "It's the Liquor Talking," and you can get that. We actually, Spotify actually does it as a video, so you can do audio or video or both. To take that off. And you can also look at the Julio's Liquors Facebook page. All these are on there too. If you ever want to go back, if you forgot something or whatever, or you're having trouble sleeping at night, these are really good to see. But thank you everybody for coming. Don't you guys go. We get some stuff to go over. But thank you everybody. You should have been here. It was awesome.